Monday afternoons here on Adelaide's 5AA, and joining me in the program right now, I'm looking forward to talking to both of these ladies, Dr. Prue McEvoy, lead Psychiatric Director of the Department of Child Protection, and Sue Macdonald, who's the Executive Director of Service Delivery and Practice for the Department of Child Protection. Now, the Department for Child Protection was formed about 3 years ago as a result of the Royal Commission. First of all, ladies, good afternoon and welcome to 5AA, and congratulations before we start on a job that not many of us would envy. Who's going to go first? Oh.
I think I will.
Oh, right.
Prue speaking.
Prue, yeah. Prue, exactly what are your roles? What do you do?
Well, I think that's a really good place to start, Tony, because this is a very new position.
Yeah. And it was only formed about a year ago.
A year ago.
Yeah.
Prior to that, I have historically been the child and adolescent psychiatrist for children in care, sitting within CAMS, and then I was the clinical director of our child and adolescent mental health service. But I guess my passion for children in this space, both, at the interface of the child protection system, but within the child protection system, led me to take on this role, which I feel very privileged and find it extremely exciting to try and think about how do we shift and change and just hold the child, I guess, at the centre of everything that we do in terms of decision making.
So who are the sort of children, Prue, you're looking after? I mean,
I guess I'm not looking after children as such, but looking at the systems that we create for them when they come
them to be looked after.
When they come into child protection, and is that meeting their needs, both in terms of a creation of a sense of safety, but then, I guess looking more broadly at, are their life domains being enhanced by being safe? And I think that sometimes, we always have to challenge ourselves in relation to that and make sure that whatever we are attempting to do for them has a therapeutic component.
Sue Macdonald, Sue, you're the Executive Director of Service Delivery and Practice within the department. What sort of situations where a child might come to you and needing assistance, or perhaps you're aware of what are the circumstances that prevail?
It's quite a broad question.
It is, I know.
We have notifications of abuse that range from sexual abuse, physical abuse, neglect.
Always from SAPOL?
No, from a variety of notifiers. So we have mandatory notification legislation which outlines the notifiers.
Right.
Our main notifiers are police, education, health, systems where children and their families interact with outside of us.
What sort of placements are available for kids who are vulnerable in this position? I mean, a broad range, or is it narrow? How does it work?
Yeah, there is a broad range. I mean, our first position would always be that children are better with their families, where they can be safely cared for by their families. So where there might be an interruption to a family's functioning and a child, we would always try to work with that family first in the first instance.
Oh, okay. So you go to the family and say, let's somehow or another work through this and resolve it, if that's at all possible.
Yes, we do, if that's possible. And
How many of those cases work? Is there a percentage? I mean, are we talking 10, 15, 20, 50? No?
I don't know. That's a hard question because there's a lot of early intervention programs that do work with families, that interact with families before we even get involved with them. I mean, once they get into our system, it is the more pointy end of the system. So, obviously it is where the more serious forms of abuse and neglect occur.
If you have a question regarding the issue, it's such a complicated issue. Dr. Prue McEvoy, lead psychiatrist and a director, and Sue Macdonald, executive director of the services, are available right now on 8223 0000. Without going into any details, I was in Brisbane on the weekend, and the people at Camp Hill, where we live, absolutely traumatised by what happened at about 8:20 last Wednesday morning. And it's affected so many people. Some people didn't even know the Clark family were living at 26 Raven Street. But then you've got some people who want to drive past and take a photo. You think, where is that coming from? I mean, but in a case like that, Prue, that's an extreme case. Are you able to intervene and do something long before it gets to that situation?
Well, we'd certainly hope that we can.
Yes. Yeah.
And I guess that's where it is really reliant on child protection broadly being seen as a whole of community issue.
Right.
And I think
rather than an individual or a school issue or a street issue.
Absolutely. Or a department issue. issue.
Can you understand why some of us think, I don't want to interfere, I'll sound like a sticky-beaking neighbour or an interfering co-parent at a school, and they'll say, oh, look, rack off, you've got your nose is longer than your brain.
Absolutely, but then I guess in that situation there are a lot of families that would appreciate some support and someone being alert to the circumstances in which they live. And, I think probably now in our community, some of those community structures have broken down and we're less likely to reach out to our neighbours or people in the street. But I guess once it gets, as serious as clearly things were in that particular family and in many of the families we see, it really requires, an interagency approach. So it requires health working with us, working with SAPOL, working with other community services to see if we can address the multitude of issues which these families face. They're generally parents who have probably themselves lived under adversity for a long time.
Oh, so a trickle-down effect, sadly, an awful trickle-down effect.
And I'd just add to that when we're just reflecting on the matter on the weekend that you referred to, family violence is a very big issue that we face in child protection. So it's our sort of three biggest issues that we're often asked to intervene with and help families manage.
Family violence.
Family violence.
And is it is the male always the perpetrator? I'd imagine in most cases, yes.
Yeah, quite often.
Yeah, quite often, yeah. A gentleman from Fulham Gardens, ladies, has given us a ring, and it's Kim, and he's on the line right now. Yes, good afternoon, Kim.
Good afternoon, matey. How are you?
All righty. Okay, you've got a question for our guests.
Yeah, I've been fighting for 4 years now for custody of my child who was born in South Australia and is what's considered the last of the part of the stolen generation. And I've proven all my DNA and my stability in family and my non-violence in the past. And I still have no way of getting that child back into my care, even though he was born there and is now in WA custody. And I've jumped through every single hoop they want me. And now just recently, the last 3 months, their mother has committed suicide. So they don't have no one to fall on there. They only have foster care. And I've been trying every way I can to get some legal advice on how to get my son back home with the family where he belongs.
It's probably a legal question, Kim, more so than one I could put to either Prue or Sue. But ladies, would you like to offer an opinion on that, Sue?
Oh, no, I need to reinforce that and to say I'm sorry to hear about the situation for you, Kim, and certainly sorry to hear about the suicide of your son's mother.
Tragedy.
Yeah, it is a tragedy. But it is a legal question.
Kim, it is a question that really begs, really deserves legal advice. Barbara says, not wanting to go on air, would you put the question to the ladies, Pilko, to Dr. Prue McEvoy and Sue McDonald? Are the AVO orders, again, this is a kind of a legal sort of a question, are the AVO orders too loosely structured, not enforced enough? I mean, you deal with it nearly on a daily basis. Prue, you're nodding your head there. Yeah.
Well, I guess I think the incident in Queensland has really challenged us all to think about that whole space.
It has, hasn't it? Yeah.
And the whole area of family violence, and certainly, the police here and, around Australia are really, I think, grappling with the issue of how do we manage this better, and again, recognise that it is unfortunately, such an integral part of our social fabric at the moment.
Yes, sadly.
Very sadly.
Sadly it is, isn't it? It was never talked about years ago. That's probably, that was a problem in itself. It was never ever mentioned in the media or written about in the paper, and certainly not on family violence. That happens in WA.
And I think, the part for us is just the absolutely tragic impact it has on children. I mean, obviously the most tragic impact was seen in Queensland, but, we see, babies, small children, older children, absolutely impacted upon by family violence, on a daily basis, really.
With these youngsters, if they're then given to a foster family or perhaps even a family member elsewhere, what are the things that family has to look out for to try and completely? What do they do with a child like that?
I might hand over to Prue to talk a little bit more about it, but what I can say is that our first preference for any care type is always going to be a family-based placement for children.
Oh, okay, right.
So, just have the opportunity to really...
go to an aunt or an uncle
or a foster carer.
A foster carer,
I mean, this is a great opportunity for us to be here today, Pilko, to really promote fostering and also to talk about the value of foster carers to our system.
But how does one become a foster carer? I mean, what are the qualifications needed? Some people are thinking, love the idea, but I'm too old, or I'm not wealthy enough, or the home's not big enough. I mean, what are the requirements?
No, well, there is there's actually a website that people can visit to take a short quiz to really address whether that is what they whether it is the right fit for them. But once you've registered to be a foster carer or registered your interest, there's an assessment process that you go through with one of the agencies. But I can give you the details of that website, for the listeners to...
Okay, well, we might as well get it now. We can repeat it a couple of times here.
It's www.fostercare.sa.gov.au.
So www.fostercare.sa.gov.au.
Yes.
Not all that complicated at all.
No, not at all.
Back in a moment or so. If you've got a question for either of the ladies, for Dr. Prue McEvoy, a leading psychiatrist and a director of the Department of Child Protection, and Sue McDonald, who's the executive director. Here's the opportunity of getting that advice. You can do it anonymously, of course, by calling on 8223 0000. It's 1:45 now.
Usually when I shoot my gob or fix, it costs me.
Yeah, Rowie, well, that could all change because if you were one of our listeners, what you say could actually win something for you big time.
Our mates at Agostino Mitsubishi are giving you the chance to win a brand spanking new Mitsubishi Mirage with 12 months rego valued at $15,490 drive away.
For the best deals, best service and best experience in 2020, call into Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth or visit agostino.com.au.
Licence number T20/82. T's and C's apply.
Head inner west and give it a test. That's what we're up to. Discovering the good stuff, like $15 lunch and dinners at the Excelsior Hotel every day. Yeah, I know, I had you at $15. We're talking the famous Excelsior filling fish and chips, or pasta of the day, or schnitty. The list goes on. The price doesn't. It stays at $15 with free salad and veg bar. What are you doing tonight? The Excelsior Hotel, I know. On Hawker and Coghlan, Brompton. It's a Barreau Hotel.
Want the biggest brands at the lowest prices? Then head to Chemist Warehouse today and save on big brand vitamins like Ostalin Calcium and Vitamin D3 300 tablets, $27.99. Wagner's Super Biomagnesium 100 tablets, $9.09. Swiss Ultibiotic Daily Digestive Probiotic 90 capsules, $39.99. Microgenics Men's or Women's Wellness Multivitamins 120 capsules, $28.99. Chemist Warehouse, great savings every day.
It's now 14 minutes to 2. There's a lot of great things to see in this lovely state of ours, and one of the easiest ways of exploring is by speaking to Monty and Wayne at Blue Wattle Tours. You're talking about a wonderful family-owned tour company, and they go to all sorts of places, the Adelaide Hills, the Adelaide wineries, to along the beaches. It's just a lovely way of seeing the state. And you can go on one of these tours. They even take boat trips, believe it or not. They're very relaxed, a very enjoyable way to spend the day going around and seeing South Australia. It's a 21-seater, so it's catering for smaller groups. It's a very social, engaging experience, and if you're worried about mobility, not a problem at all, because they can easily cater for you. What they do is actually offer a pick-up service from home in our north, west and eastern suburbs. The price includes a lovely morning tea and then a delicious lunch early in the afternoon, and Monty and Wayne really look after you. The number of people have done it regularly and have formed friendships over the years. So if you're thinking, mobility's a bit of an issue, not a problem at all. Pick you up from home and drop you off at home. It's a wonderful way of seeing the state, and it's absolutely affordable. And I said, Monty and Wayne, the people who own the company, Wayne does the bus driving and Monty does the talking, and they're really lovely, lovely people. You'll get to like them right from the word go. To find out more about it, simply visit bluewattletours.com and find out about this terrific way of seeing this state of ours with Monty and Wayne, the people at Blue Wattle Tours.
When you run a pizza business like Luca, it's all about the dough.
It's true.
You might say dough is the secret of his success.
You're giving away my secret.
But I'm not talking about his incredible pizzas.
You're not?
I'm talking about this kind of dough. By using CommBank FPOS terminals, the dough goes into Luca's account the day he earns it, so he can cover staff, rent and ingredients.
Like dough.
Search CommBank same-day settlement for however you do business. With CommBank, you can. For eligibility, terms and conditions, visit commbank.com.au/same-day.
Craniofacial Australia has been supporting those with craniofacial conditions for over 40 years in Australia and overseas. In 2020, as part of our commitment to research, Craniofacial Australia is offering grants to those who meet our funding guidelines on a case-by-case basis. If you're interested in being part of this new and exciting program, simply email research@acmff.org.au. Be part of the team changing faces, changing lives. Visit craniofacial.com.au.
Looking for the perfect rental or trying to find the right tenant? At Toop and Toop, we take the hassle out of renting and property management. Whether it's catching up with one of our team members about your property needs or receiving live updates direct to your device, we are with you at every step of the way. We pride ourselves on combining cutting-edge technology and old-school customer service. It's one of the reasons we've been awarded Australia's #1 real estate agency 3 years running. Head to toop.com.au or call us anytime.
Call Glenelg Plumbing Service on 8295 1122 for leaky taps. 8295 1122 for hot water services. 8295 1122 for block pipes. 8295 1122 for Glenelg Plumbing Service.
Amy lives in poverty and dreads going to school. Her shoes are falling apart and she can't afford a proper school bag. She often hides at recess because she doesn't fit in. She's trying, but living in poverty means every day is a struggle. Amy has almost nothing left to give. Do you? You can help a child like Amy get the support they need for school. Please sponsor an Australian child today. Search the Smith family.
Scraped your caravan? Walker Crash Caravan Repairs. Easy insurance repairs fast. This is Tony Pilkington.
And our guests, Dr. Prue McEvoy, who's a lead psychiatrist and the director of the Department of Child Protection in our state, and the executive director of the organisation is Sue Macdonald. Ladies, do you ever get... This is a dumb question. You're going to think, oh, only he could have asked it. Do you ever get depressed with your work and think, oh, God, it's too hard, I want to give up and go and do something else?
I don't think that's a dumb question at all. I think it's one we grapple with working in child protection.
Really?
And also we have to grapple with it for our whole workforce, because it's absolutely critical that our workforce, who are dealing with really complex and often very sad situations day in, day out, we really have to make sure that they have the appropriate support structures in place, appropriate supervision, appropriate training, and that goes right up to our level. We need to have opportunities to debrief, to talk with our colleagues.
Now that you put it like that, Prue, it's maybe not the dumbest question I've asked.
It's a very sensible question.
Yeah, because you just assume, maybe incorrectly, Sue, that people who are doing the line of work that you're doing are always up. Nothing will get us down, because we deal with these problems nearly on a daily basis. But it's important to make sure that you and the rest of your staff are okay.
And it's important to maintain the hope that, we obviously have hope that things will get better for children, and we have hope that systems will come together.
Even in the worst cases, Sue?
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
And hope that children's lives can be improved by our intervention, or by the intervention of their therapist, or, obviously part of our role is to ensure that children have the opportunity to heal from any abuse or neglect that they might have experienced as a child.
Do you ever come across the fact that a youngster or a child comes to you and you're thinking they've been so traumatised and they've seen so much and have experienced so many bad things that they're nearly irreparable? They've tipped over the edge.
Well, I think that's what we're always mindful of.
Yeah.
But I think, fortunately, children do have an extraordinary resilience, and their brains are still developing, which has the sort of, I guess, negative side that they're very vulnerable to these sorts of events happening to them. But the other side of that, there's also capacity for healing and change within their brains if they're provided with the right environment where that can be nurtured. So, one of the things that I've been doing since I've started in the department.
And you've only been there a year, haven't you?
I've only been there a year.
Yeah.
Holding case reviews, so we get all the agencies that are around the child together so that we all understand what the child's needs are.
Who are these agencies? We immediately think of SAPOL.
Well, particularly education is critical for children because...
So you're talking about school teachers here?
We're talking about I guess people within education who in particular are looking at the well-being of their students. Because one of the, the most disrupted thing in a child's life when these things happen is that, they get pulled out of school or kindergarten.
Really?
So creating some safety, even with childcare for very young children, can be incredibly important. So having those services around us, disability services, now we've got the NDIS, but that provides, a further complication, but also a reassurance that we can get services on board as soon as we possibly can.
Our other big partner is health, of course.
Yes.
And while Prue has only been in our department for a year, Prue did work obviously for the Department of Health. And,
okay, so you have that background, right?
Yes, and her connection with our department was just so critical for many years to try and puzzle through this together.
At Andrews Farm, Erin has given us a call from there. Erin, good afternoon, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
What's the question you have for our guests?
So my question is just whether the statistics about how many kids are currently guardians of the minister have been kind of published publicly, because I just wonder whether as a society we can really have an open conversation about how big this problem is when the general public just have no idea about how many kids are in this situation.
That's an excellent question, Erin. It's Sue here. Thank you for asking it. Our latest data is that there's currently we've just hit over 4,000 children in out-of-home care. Yes, yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. That's not the exact number, of course. It's a little bit over 4,000, but you make a good point about the need to really talk about the quantum of the problem and think about what we do need to do as a community to address that.
Erin, how many would you have thought before Sue was able to tell you that number?
Look, I worked for a while as a carer, so I knew the problem was big, and I've also worked in education, so I have a little bit of insight, but I feel like because it's an expensive process to have children, in care, that maybe the conversation is a little bit shrouded in mystery. But I just feel like if we don't understand how many children are in situations that are dire, then the general public are never going to make it like a political issue. And, they just kind of, if it's unseen, people don't know that they need to get a bit vocal about the fact that we have kids in our society that are, that need to be cared for, and they need people to advocate for them.
I think that's a really great statement, Erin, because it's one of, I guess, my long-standing frustrations is that the conversation doesn't become public enough. And there's a lot of data now saying that it's probably child maltreatment is probably one of the sort of the key public health issues, and we should be treating it as that. And I think, unfortunately, it tends to just get left, this is something the Department for Child Protection needs to deal with, when in fact it's every agency across the board.
Erin, thank you for the call. Chris, you're at Banksia Park. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you guys. I'm still very upset about Chloe Valentine, how her needs weren't met. She stayed with her family. You'd say you try to keep them with the family, but it was far worse for her to stay with her family. Her health and her well-being were not absolutely met, and it was disgusting that nothing was done to protect that child and others like her in situations like that. Sorry.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's an individual case and it was tragic and all. Chris, the point that you make. Ladies, thank you for your time this afternoon, and congratulations and love on the work you do. Not easy work at all, but you obviously love it and you're good at it. And I'd hope perhaps you'd come back and join us again one of these afternoons. So that email address again, www.fostercare .gov.au.
.sa.gov.au.
.sa.gov.
I can leave that with the
Yes,
producers.
please leave it with Josh, and if anybody would like it. Ladies, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
Hope to see you again. That's Dr. Prue McEvoy, a lead psychiatrist, the director of the Department of Child Protection, and Sue Macdonald, who's the executive director of the program. And if you're interested to get that email address, Josh has it on hand. It's a couple of minutes to 2 o'clock now. And after 2, on an all